In today's video, the Nefarious Dark Elves assault an ancient fortress teeming with undead guardians as we play another game of Age of Fantasy Skirmish from One Page Rules. Well, hi folks, and welcome to the channel. I'm Lee, your old hammered host. I'm here with Lynn, your other old hammered host.
Hello.
And today we're going to play a quick game of Age of Fantasy Skirmish from One Page Rules using our snazzy Games Workshop Citadel Miniatures Mighty Fortress from the late 1980s. And this is one of the smaller configurations for the castle. This is the outpost, which has fewer wall sections and an overall smaller footprint than the larger border fortress. So the story behind today's game is that the Royal Engineers have been excavating an ancient fortress looking for treasure, and they have found the tomb of Saint Oglethorpe down there. Unfortunately for the engineers, once they uncovered the sarcophagus, all of these horrific tomb guardians kind of sprouted out of the ground. They killed a bunch of engineers and drove the rest screaming into the forest. So the engineers have gone back to the castle to get reinforcements. But in their absence, a raiding party of dark elves have swooped in. They're going to try to break into the outpost and steal the bones of Saint Oglethorpe, which are valuable relics that they can then sell on the open market or ransom back to the Empire or do all kinds of things. Make them into jewelry, I guess. I don't know.
Something like that.
Something like that. But to do that, they'll have to defeat or otherwise get past the Guardians. So today's scenario will be a castle raid where the Guardians will be in place inside the castle and the elves will be storming it from the sides and from the back and trying to clear them out. And to give them a little bit of an advantage, because the elves will be attacking, we're going to have them have 300 points of elves versus the Guardians 250 points, and we'll just see how that goes. So the Dark Elf raiding party is led by a champion who is a sorceress. They have 3 crossbowmen who activate individually. There is a 3-elf unit of Dark Warriors right here. They activate together as a group. Back here, there are 3 additional units of Dark Elf Warriors. They each have spears, and they activate in 3 different groups. And finally, a group of witches right here. They have dual hand weapons, so they will get 6 attacks per round, so they are pretty fierce. Then over here, we have 250 points of Tomb Guardians. These are from the Mummified Undead list. These are a bunch of FFG Rune Wars figures, if you remember Rune Wars. So we have the Royal Champion riding a Royal Beast, which in this case is a giant carnivorous worm. He's very fierce. He's a hero. He has tough. He's undead. And he's also a priest, so he can cast wizard spells. Then we have a unit of skeleton archers activating together. We have 3 members of the Royal Guard back here who activate individually. And then over here we have some classic Games Workshop skeletons. 2 groups of 3, and each group activates together, and they all have spears, so they get phalanx. Okay, so this scenario might end up being quick and violent because it's taking place basically on a 2x2 area. So there's going to be lots of fisticuffs and arrows flying and spells being cast and cursing and all kinds of things. So the goal here is for the elves to break through the opposition and get in contact with the sarcophagus and basically be in contact with it at the end of turn 4 and have no opposition in contact with it, which means they will control it. We were talking about maybe having them remove the skeleton entirely and try to get it outside the castle, but since we only have 4 turns to play with, that probably isn't practical. So we will just have them try to get into the castle, eliminate as many Tomb Guardians as possible, and be in control of the sarcophagus when the sun rises. And we'll call that a Dark Elf victory. On the other hand, if the Tomb Guardians are managed to repel the raiders, then they can have a little festive Day of the Dead dance at the end of the game and maybe recruit some Dark Elves into their Legion of the Damned. Okay, so that is the gist of today's scenario. So we're going to take a few minutes off camera to set up, and then we'll play a short and probably very violent game of Age of Fantasy Skirmish from One Page Rules. Okay, so we are back, and as you can see, the Tomb Guardians are swarming inside the fortress like angry hornets, as they were somewhat agitated by the Royal Engineers, who they drove away. Little do they know, however, that a Dark Elf raiding party is preparing to scamper over the walls and try to steal their precious sarcophagus. So over here, we have a unit of Dark Elf warriors with swords. Here is the sorceress, and here are a couple of crossbowmen. Here's 2 units of spearmen right here, getting ready to climb the ladder works that the engineers set up and left behind. And here are some Dark Elf witches, some more spearmen, and another crossbowman. And the Tomb Guardians are roaming around waiting for something to happen. So here's the Royal Guardian right here. Here's a couple of units of skeletons, some archers, a Royal Guard, And another Royal Guard. I think there's one more floating around here somewhere. But anyway, the elves are going to kick off the action as the aggressors, and we will go into turn 1. And they have 4 turns to try to get way down here and seize that sarcophagus and kind of clear out any opposition so they can hold it. So you ready?
I'm ready.
So for the first activation of turn 1.
This dark shooter is going to shoot at your Royal Guard there.
Okay, so this crossbowman can see a skeleton up here, and he's going to take 2 shots with his barbed crossbow bolts. Okay, dark shooters shooting on a 4+. 2 shots.
1 hit.
1 hit.
The Royal Guard defends on a 4+, correct?
Correct. Defending on a 4+. He does. So, the Dark Elf shot. He held and shot.
Have we aggravated the guards?
Yes, you have stirred up the hornet's nest. So because they're kind of agitated, these skeletons are going to charge down the ladder into this unit of Dark Warriors here. These skeletons will get 3 attacks with a quality of 5+. All right, 3 skeletons. 2 hits.
So we defend on a 5+. 1 defense.
So you blocked 1, so 1 swordsman is killed.
But I can fight back.
So 2 Dark Elf swordsmen attacking on a 4+.
1 hit.
1 hit. Skeleton defends on a 5+. Does not. 1 skeleton is dispatched.
And we are both fatigued.
You wouldn't think skeletons would get fatigued, but they do.
Their bones got a little rattled, so they got to get them back into place.
That's right, their bones are rattled. Correct. So this crossbowman is going to shoot at the skeletons. Shooting the skeleton, crossbowman gets 2 attacks.
4+.
With his repeating crossbow.
1 hit.
1 hit. Skeleton defends. Does not. Skeleton is eliminated. Boink. So for this scenario, we're saying that the interior of the towers are blocked off by rubble, but there are some staircases here that were built by the Royal Engineers to allow people to traverse up and over the towers. So that's what these skeletons are going to do. So if they rush and they move their full 12, they can kind of go this way, kind of up, over, and then over here. So that's what they're going to do. Up and over the tower. And then down again. To try to hold the line. And then for their troubles, Lynn said she's going to shoot them with this crossbowman right here. So the Dark Elf repeater crossbow is shooting up at these skeletons. So 2 shots.
4+.
1 hit.
1 hit.
Depending on a 5+.
Ooh, they do it.
He blocks it.
It's that crypt power.
It's that crypt power, or the fact that he has no internal organs.
That's true, too.
That's helpful. Okay, so that means this guy activated.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this Royal Guard here is going to kind of move over this way. And that's his activation. He would have attacked these witch elves down here, but they get 6 attacks, so they would have chopped him into pieces. So Lynn is activating the Dark Elf Sorceress. The Evil Queen.
The Evil Queen is going to attempt to use Blade Storm.
Blade Storm. So spellcasting is different than shooting an arrow or something. It's not really a missile weapon, so you can move up to 12. You can rush and still cast a spell.
Okay.
If you want to.
So if they're in the way, can I go past them? Or
You can't be within 1 inch of them, no.
okay, so I can't go up the stairs, but I can go up here.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so Sorceress is moving. So the Dark Elf Sorceress has moved up here, and she is going to cast
Blade Storm.
Blade Storm on the Royal Guardian.
Correct.
To activate the spell, you need a 3+. 1, it fizzles.
Bummer.
That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. It was worth a try.
You took a big risk.
I did.
You rolled a big goose egg.
And it may come back to haunt me.
So these archers then are going to move kind of over here and get a clear line of sight on the sorceress who tried to blade storm their beloved giant carnivorous worm. So 3 skeleton archers down here shooting up at the sorceress there. Saving grace is they only hit on a 5+.
But then again, I only defend on a 5+ as well.
3 attacks. 1 hit.
Defend on a 5+. No.
So the sorceress takes 1 wound out of 3. And the skeleton archers have activated. Okay, Lynn, who's next on the elf side, the dark elf side?
So the witches are going to rush up the ladder and attack your royal guard.
Right. That's this guy here.
Yep.
So about 5 to the top. So they rush up. Charge. So here is the royal guard skeleton and 3 dark elf witches. And they get 2 attacks apiece. So they're pretty fierce. Quality of 4+. They could do some damage.
2 hits.
2 hits.
But you defend on a 4+, I think.
2 hits on the royal guard. He does defend on a 4+. Blocks 1, takes a wound.
Rolls on the wound chart.
Rolls on the wound chart. And it's a 5, so he is stunned. If a skeleton can be stunned, he's momentarily off his feet.
We knocked his bones apart for the moment.
He needs to reconstitute himself. And the witches are fatigued. So, on the skeleton's turn, the royal guardian is going to rush up the staircase and attack the witches. So because he's riding a giant carnivorous worm, the royal champion has impact. So that's going to do 1 automatic hit. Then he attacks 3 times with AP1, and the beast attacks 2 times with AP2. But before I do that, I should cast a spell, because a wizard can cast a spell anytime before attacking. So maybe I will try Storm of Skulls. So that's a 3+ to cast the spell. Gets it. Target enemy takes 3 hits with AP2.
So I got to get a 6.
You need a 6, I guess.
Well, I took 2 hits.
Took 2 hits. So
Does that kill 2 witches?
2 witches get killed by the Storm of Skulls. And the remaining witch gets attacked.
I don't think the witch will live through this.
We'll see. So that is 4 hits with AP1 and 1 hit with AP2. And didn't block any of them. So that is 5 hits.
Okay.
Roll on the wound chart. Add
And
5.
Most likely dead.
And yes, very dead. So the last witch is taken out by the monstrosity. Okay, so that is the royal champion on the carnivorous worm.
So your knocked over guy isn't wounded or anything, right?
He took a wound, he rolled on the wound chart, and he's stunned. So if you charge him, he can just go away.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Lynn says she's going to take these Dark Elf Spearmen, and they're going to charge up the rock, up the ladder, to the tower, and then down onto this poor stunned skeleton. So here's the 3 Dark Elf Spearmen acting as a unit. They charge this royal guard, and because he's stunned, he can't defend himself, and so he's eliminated. Was that vengeance for the witches?
That was an attempt at vengeance for the witches.
So the death count so far is 2 skeletons and 1 royal guard versus 3 witches.
Yes. I think you got the better deal on that one.
So it's the skeleton's turn again, and they have 1 royal guardsman here and 1 here. This one is going to run over to the staircase, kind of up here and over here, just to get out of the way. So the Dark Elves have 1 unit of spearmen here, and another unit of spearmen back here by the back of the castle.
These spearmen are going to rush up and attack the champion.
Attack the champion. So they rush up the ladder with their razor-sharp spears and attack the Temple Guardian on the carnivorous worm. So 3 attacks?
On 4+.
On a 4+. 1 hit.
1 hit.
Defending on a 4+. Yes. Okay. Now he's going to
The
attack.
crypt power.
The crypt power. Now he attacks back, but because he's fatigued, he only hits on a 6. So that's helpful.
Yes.
1 hit, AP1.
So they defend on a 5+. No.
No. 1 spearman is killed. And they're fatigued.
And they're fatigued. Yep.
So I have 1 royal guard left down here. He's going to hop onto the crate, hop onto the rock, hop up here, and then move kind of over here. So that's what he's doing. And finally, the elves have 1 more unit of dark spearmen.
The spearmen are going to rush up and attack your spearmen.
So they're going to move over here, up this rock, and climb the wall and attack the spearmen. though the skellies will get phalanx. The skeletons have set their spears to receive the charge, so you have to roll 3 times, and any ones inflict a wound. So no ones.
No ones.
Okay. So the Dark Elves hit on a 4+.
2 hits.
2 hits on the skellies, who defend on a 5+. Nope. No blocks. So 2 skeletons are killed. 1 skeleton is going to attempt to attack back. So 1 skeleton attacking back on a 5+. Misses.
Yay! So now we are done with that round.
Done with round 1. These guys back up 1 inch as best they can. Going into round 2.
Lots of casualties.
So the death toll so far is 3 Dark Elf Witches, 1 Spearman, 1 Swordsman, a Royal Guard skeleton, and 4 regular skellies. So the skeletons get to move first on turn 2 because they finished up their activations first last turn. So here we have the Royal Champion. And I think he's going to try to cast a spell because there's all these spearmen here jabbing at him from all directions. And I think he's going to try Storm of Skulls on this group of spearmen right here. So he needs to roll a 3+ to activate the spell. 3! So the heavens rain a Storm of Skulls on this group of spearmen. So it's AP2, so they need a 6 to defend. Skull Storm.
Well, they're still all dead. Oh no, I still get to roll on the wound chart.
Right, so 2 are killed outright
Yeah.
by a hailstorm of skulls.
Yeah.
And 1 takes a wound and rolls on the wound chart. And he's stunned.
Okay.
So he's stunned. That's what you get when you're a Tomb Raider.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, now what are you going to do?
Well, then he's going to charge this group of spearmen right here. So he gets 1 free hit for impact because it's charge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that is 4 hits with AP1, including the automatic hit, and 2 hits with AP2.
They're dead.
Well, 1 is killed outright, and then you have to roll on the wound chart. So 1 guy's killed, and then there's 4 additional wounds. So you roll on the wound chart and add 4. He's gone. So the Royal Champion decimated 2 squads of Dark Elf Spearmen. He's pretty fierce.
He's evil.
He's evil. So your sorceress here, and we were discussing the text of the rules that talks about spellcasting, and it says you can cast a spell anytime before you attack, so we interpret that as you can charge, but before you actually swing your sword there or your staff, you can still cast your spell. So the sorceress is going to go up to the top of the tower, charge along the wall, and attack the Royal Guardian there. But before she does her physical attack, she's going to cast a spell, right?
She's going to cast Blade Storm, which hits on a 3+.
Blade Storm hits. So Blade Storm actually allows you to attack 2 units within 6 inches. So that would mean these archers as well. So she can attack the worm here, who's facing the wrong direction.
Well, I can shoot him in the back.
That's right. And the archers, so they both get Blade Stormed. The power of Dark Elf sorcery.
Who are you going to roll for defense on first?
Okay, so what does Blade Storm do?
4 hits.
4 hits each. So let's try the archers first. No AP or anything, right?
No AP.
Just a bunch of hits.
Yep.
So they defend on a 5+. And they don't defend any, so let's see. 2 are killed, and then the last guy has to roll on the wound chart and add 2. And so he is stunned. So 2 archers are killed. The last guy is stunned. He feels somewhat vindicated because of the Blade Storm.
We'll see.
And then the Royal Champion, who defends on a 4+, blocks 2, so he takes 2 hits, 2 wounds. He's got a toughness of 3, so he's down to 1 wound. So he takes 2 wounds. And then the sorceress can do her physical attack. So rolling 3 attacks.
Hitting on a 4+.
and hitting on a 4+.
3 hits.
That's pretty good. Any AP?
Just 3 straight up hits.
3 straight up hits. The Skelly champion defends on a 4+. Oops, I lost one. So he takes 2 wounds. So the Royal Champion started with 2 wounds. He took 2 more, so now he's at 4 wounds. So he's going to roll on the wound chart, and he wants to get less than an 8.
So roll a 6.
And he got a 9, so he's killed. So you killed the Royal Champion. Are you breathing a sigh of relief over there?
Yes, since he took out 2 full units in 1 turn. That's pretty devastating.
He ate a lot of spearmen.
He
That's
did
correct.
eat a lot of spearmen.
So, yay for the sorceress. Now there's not that many skeletons left on the field, actually.
I may yet survive round 2.
Okay, so in some games when your leader is killed, you have to take a morale check. But in this game, it's more based on whether you've lost half of your units or not. And the skeletons, they got 1 guy here. He's a 1-man unit. There's 1 archer left. There was a royal guard here. There is 1 skeleton here. He used to be part of a 3-man unit. And 1 skeleton way down here. He used to be part of a 3-man unit. So that's 5 units. So they're not down to 50% yet. And undead don't really need to worry about morale anyway. They pass all the morale checks, though there is a chance that some of them will crumble to dust in the process. So one could say that the worm has turned here, no pun intended, because with the loss of the Royal Champion, the Skellies really don't have much left in the way of fighting power. They got a few single soldiers running around the field, but I don't think they'll be able to hold off the elves for too much longer, but we will do our best. So this 1 Skelly is going to charge these 3 spearmen. He's going to have to roll for phalanx. Any 1s are going to be a wound. And no 1s, so he did charge in. He's attacking once on a 5+, and he doesn't hit. So are the spearmen going to attack back?
Why not?
Hitting on a 4+.
2 hits.
2 hits on the Skelly. He defends on a 5+. Blocks 1, takes a wound, rolls on the wound chart, and he's stunned. So the Dark Elves get to move.
This crossbowman here is going to move over 6 inches and shoot the spearman.
Shoot that skeleton. Okay. So this crossbowman here, shooting this skeleton over here. 2 shots with rending.
Hitting on a 4+.
So 1 hit with rending, which is AP 4. So Skelly needs a 6. Does not get it. Takes a wound. Rolls on the wound chart. And he's stunned. So skeleton takes a crossbow bolt. And he's knocked to the ground. Okay, this royal guard here is going to rush over here and attack the sorceress who is fatigued. So he's going to try to wreak a horrible revenge with his 1 attack on the sorceress, who has taken 1 wound.
Yep.
Quality of 3+, attacking once, AP 1. Hits.
Okay.
So AP 1.
Defending on a 6+. No.
No.
So it takes a 2nd wound.
So she takes a
And
wound.
she will attack back.
Attack back. Hits on a 6.
Gotta try.
Because she's fatigued.
Ooh, no.
No hits.
No hits.
So, skeleton backs up.
So then it's my turn.
Now it's the elf's turn. This elf is going to move over here, Lynn says, and shoot at the stunned skeleton to try to put him out of his misery. So, this guy here is shooting this poor guy here. 2 shots. 2 rendings. That's not good. Anyway, that's... He's stunned anyway, so any hit would have taken him out, but you rended him, so there's an explosion of bone fragments. Okay, who's left on the skeleton side? Anybody?
Yes, your royal guard.
I got 1 royal guard and a stunned archer. So this royal guard here doesn't have many options. He's going to run up the tower and then down here and attack these spearmen. He's going to attack these 3 spearmen. They're going to get to phalanx. So any 1s are a hit. No 1s. So he does get to attack. Hitting on a 3+, so he's a good fighter, but he only gets 1 attack. And 6, so he hits. AP1. AP1, they don't block. So 1 spearman is killed. So these guys are going to attack back, but they were fatigued from a previous combat, which is where they knocked this skeleton down. Hitting on a 6. One hit. 1 hit from the spearman, defending on a 4+. 5, he defends. So he's still there. Okay, so the elves get to go.
So the elves spearmen are going to stomp on him.
So these spearmen are going to jump down from the wall and stomp on that skeleton, taking him out. Which brings the skeletons down to 3 units. So they're less than half strength, I think. So we need to roll for some morale. I have 3 skeletons left. I have this guy here, this royal guard. There's an archer down here. There's another royal guard down here. So they all have to roll for morale. Skeletons automatically pass morale, but if they get a low roll, they take wounds. So the magic starts to fade, apparently. So royal guard have quality 3+. First one passes. Second one passes. And the archer fails. So he takes 1 to 2 wounds. So he takes a wound which can't be regenerated, and because he's stunned, we'll just say that gets rid of him. So that leaves just 2 skeletons left. There's 1 here and 1 here. And normally I would concede, but Lynn wants to try to take this one guy out just for giggles, right?
Just for giggles.
So you have a crossbowman down here, which can shoot at him. 2 shots with a 4+.
1 hit.
1 hit.
And he defends.
He blocks it.
Okay.
And then your 2 swordsmen are going to run up the ladder and attack him.
Yep.
Attacking on a 4+.
No hits. You going to attack back?
He is. The fatigue skeleton is going to attack back as his last act of defiance. Does not hit. And we're going to call that the game. We'll say that the sun rises and the enchantment fades and these last 2 skeletons kind of turn into dust. So this guy goes away. So you were concerned that you wouldn't make it past turn 2.
So I was really worried after the champion took out 2 groups in 1 shot.
Right, but then your sorceress stepped in.
And my sorceress was able to take him out with some lucky rolls.
Yeah, that combination of casting a spell, particularly if there's groups in close proximity, so you can hit more than 1, and then attacking successfully really makes a big difference. So she was able to blade storm and have some crafty hand-to-hand to take him out. So yeah, she's not afraid of the Royal Guardian.
No.
And the big maggot. Because she really, really wanted the sarcophagus, and so now the Dark Elves can raid the bones of St. Oglethorpe and turn him into cosmetic jewelry or whatever it is they do, or ransom him back to the Empire because he's a valuable relic. Okay, well, the elves actually did pretty good in the end. So you still have 5 units, or remnants of 5 units, out of a starting number of 9. But you did lose some witches, you lost a lot of spearmen, a swordsman, but no crossbowmen, and your sorceress still survives to raid the bones of poor St. Oglethorpe. So, the indignity. All right, folks, I guess that's a wrap on today's rather violent game of Age of Fantasy Skirmish from One Page Rules. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back very shortly with some more tabletop wargaming stuff. But until then, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.